Hello everyone. So this is another video in continuation with the previous one where we worked on blob storage containers. We talked about how to create them using Python and how to upload the files, download the files using Python itself. This is another feature in the same storage account. So we have the sample storage account and we looked at blob containers. Now we are going to look at tables. So this tables is it's a non-relational tables. You can have multiple tables inside this table component, and you cannot have relation between these two tables, between any of these two tables. The main reason or the main use case for utilizing these tables is to either have some configurations which can be used by any other Azure service, or you can have some logs being inserted into it. One thing that we really have to consider is the tables are non-relational, but they can have huge volume of data stored in them. So now in order to look at how we can create a table or delete a table, upload, add some values to the table, and also then delete it, also query it. The first thing that we'll need is we'll go to security and networking, and we'll go to access keys. So earlier also we talked about in order to access it, we can either have access key or shared access signature. What we are going to use here is the connection string. So I just copied the connection string from here and I pasted it in my environment variable, and then using config I just incorporated it. Now in this Python notebook I'm going to use the value from config, and the package that I'm going to use is Azure Data Tables. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some table. I'm going to delete all tables, then create a list existing tables, create an empty table, and then we are going to read a product.csv and then read that value and update it into bulk insert into the table. Last, we are going to query the table. So the first thing that we are going to do is create a service table, and let me rename this to sample entity table. But for that, let's look at this. We do not have any table as of now. So I'll quickly execute this, and if I go here and refresh, so this one, uh, client from connection string. Okay, this one is just a create table service, and this one creates an empty table. And let's not hard code the table name, but rather get it from this table. Yeah, so I'll execute this and my table should be ready. So as of now, if you will come here, you'll see there are no values in it. But one thing that we should consider or we should note here is it already have 3 columns which we did not, we did not pass these as parameters while generating the table. The reason it's generated is because any table will always have these 3 fields. The partition key is the how the Azure is going to use this partition key to partition the data over different nodes. Row key always have to be unique to every row. It cannot be duplicated. If you'll try to insert a duplicate row key, it will throw an error. Timestamp is again something which automatically gets generated at the time when you're going to insert a row. Before we move ahead, let's list down all the existing tables. Yeah, it gave me just one value because that's what we have. And let's try to delete this. So if I'll just delete this, and it should be, so right now it's running in a way that it tries to delete everything, but we have only one table. So I go here and refresh, it's not there. Now I'll just quickly try to recreate this and see. This is what I wanted to show. It gave me an error that this table already exists, and it gave me an operation return an invalid status conflict. The reason is in a particular storage account, you can have the table names have to be unique, but you might ask, the table is not there. Why is it asking? Why is it giving a conflict error? So when you delete a table, it shows you that it's deleted right away, but on the back end, it takes some time to actually delete those tables. You can think it in a way that for now it is marked as flagged as is deleted, but it takes some time for the backend job to actually go and delete it. While we were talking, that time must have passed, so we try to create it again and see we were able to create a table again with the same name. Now what we are going to do is we have listed it. Now let's just try to create one entry into this table, and we will create a table client. We will create a table if not exists. So this row, although the table already exists, so if I use a create table if not exists, it will not give me an error. And then I'll try to update this entity. I'll try to create this entity in my table. So I will execute this, I will refresh and go inside. I can see there is one row. The row key uniqueness, or maybe let's look at this time. So timestamp is what we are the current time right now, and the row key is has to be unique. If I try to re-execute this, it will give me an error that there is a conflict. Now this conflict is for the row key because it has to be unique. Then we don't need this right now. I'll delete, and what I'll do is uh, let's try to bulk insert the data. So we have this product CSV which has all the required columns, multiple rows. Let's try to just bulk insert this. It's pretty straightforward. We have a data file, we are reading it into a pandas data frame. We are again calling this method to create a table if not exist. We are iterating over each row. For each row, I'm generating the entity object using this generic method, and then I'm creating an entity. So let me run this. It should complete, or it should create those values. Yeah, it is done. If I refresh, just give it a second. Let me go out. Oh, it's created with a different name. Just give me a second. Let me delete all the tables. Yeah, let me delete all the tables, and let me make sure I'm passing the correct table name while creating this. Yes, and yeah, that should be good. So now my table should be deleted. Then I will just come here and run this. What happened? Okay, it's a conflict. Let's just wait for a second and try to execute it again. It's still conflict. Let's wait. Let's give it a second. While we are waiting, we'll further talk about how to query the data. Let me try once more. Okay, let's give it a second. The table is not created. Yeah, while we are waiting, let's just look at one of the things that we did here. So the package that we use provides the data service client using which you can actually create a client to your particular table. This is this table, the table objects, list of table objects, and then we are utilizing this to list all the tables, delete all tables, create a table in that table service client. What you can also do is, as part of this package, you can export a table client. So if you want to work with a specific table, you need to create a table client, and for a table, if you want to work with a specific entity, a specific row, then you need this table entity. Now the time should have passed and I should be able to create this. Yes, looks like it. So I'll just refresh, go to sample entity, and I have bulk data inserted. Now I would like to query the data. So again, the table service client, I'm getting a table client which I talked about earlier. This table client is of type table client which I inherited or imported in the previous step. Now for that table client, I'm querying and saying this is my filter, that my row key equals to 1 2 3 4. Do I have a 1 2 3 4? Yes, I do. So if I'll run this, I will be able to see that okay, this is the value. And so this is one way of querying the data. This is another way of querying the data where we are passing a range. This one actually says that you have a field which is stock, you want to have all the stocks which are greater than 12 and less than 16. If I look at it, if I sort it, so I do have some rows which are greater than 12, so 13, 14 and 15, so less than 16. So I create a parameter where we have it's like a JSON. Lower is value is 12, upper value is 16. I have a query filter which says stock greater than @lower and stock less than @upper. Now in the table client, I will use query entities, which I was using again, but the query filter will become this query filter, and I'll also pass some parameters which will be referred from here. So when this query or this query will materialize, it will replace this @lower with 12 and @upper with 16. I will create the query and execute it. So now if I print this, I should be able to see that all the stocks that it throws as an output are greater than 12 and less than 16. So this is more or less what we have around table storage. In the next one, we'll talk about the queues. Thank you so much.